Yo, what is going on, Cover Room crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's doing good as always. I'm awesome. We're diving into week number 4. Start, sit, lineup advice. We got to get those dubs. Hopefully you guys are rolling in the right direction. I know I'm doing very well in majority of my leagues at this point. Continue down this path that we require to get those wins. Injuries are transpiring like we see all over the league, so you guys know the drill. Rapid fire, every team, every player. Let's kick this thing off, man. Atlanta Falcons taking on the Washington Commanders, the Commies. Michael Penix Jr. coming off a terrible showing versus those Carolina Panthers. Was not a good show at all, man. Will they be able to rebound versus the JD list? Washington Commanders. We'll see how it does go, but this offense definitely needs an injection of something because it definitely is not good. Mid-level risk, I am looking in other directions this week. It is a week-to-week league, this NFL, so you know, even though they dropped 0 last week, they could put up 25 because that's how this league definitely does work every single week. Mid-level risk, not playing a Penix this week. I want to see him rebound. Bijan, like every week, 3 boom games. Guys killing it. You start him everywhere you got him for obvious reasons of him being a superstar. Tyler Algier, volume floor, high-level risk. Like I said, matchup play only. Determine is going to be his play. Only deep leagues, like 16-team leagues, can you play a Tyler Algier. Drake London, what is your problem? Part of it is Michael Penix. It is an issue. He can't even support the wide receivers that we all believe and know that can be absolutely elite in this league. Already flirting with the opportunity that a Kirk Cousins might be taken over soon. I highly doubt it. Can't give up on Penix that early. But, I mean, Drake London has fallen down my board. 0 boom games in 3 contests. Mid-level risk on the really kind of low floors for him at this point. Not good, no bueno. Darnell Mooney coming back from his injury. I thought he was going to be able to be good last week. Did not fit the bill. Low floor as well for him, only because the passing game is not working for these Falcons at the moment. I fully expect a better pass attack, but I do not like the play of Mooney this week either. Likewise with Ray McLeod, high-level risk, and Kyle Pitts is going to be a TD-dependent tight end for us. I think there are much better options. Commies' defense is not terrible, so they will give the Falcons a run for their money. Baltimore Ravens taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Huge contest for these teams. Massive, man. One of these teams will go 1-3 this week. God, I don't even know which one I'm rooting for to be 1-3. They both can go 1-3 at this point. Bills fan, you guys know this. Lamar Jackson, low-level risk. Fire him up everywhere he got him. He just continues to pile up the points. Like we know, Derrick Henry, the fumbleitis has hit this man. And we heard in practice this week that he just would not let the ball out of his hand. Would not give it to the ref. Would not give it to the coaching staff. He held the ball the entire time. And you know he's going to rectify this problem. I think that, you know, when I was watching the past 2 contests where he was fumbling a lot, it was interesting because something was seen on tape where he's carrying the ball a little bit outside of his body, and you can peanut punch that thing out when you're from the behind of, try and trail him, I guess the best way to say it. He's going to clean this thing up, no problem. Low-level risk, fire him up versus Chiefs. Even though the Chiefs still are good versus the run, you fire up Derrick Henry without any doubt in your mind. Justice Hill, high-level risk, not touching it. Zay Flowers on a bounce back. Low-level risk. The Chiefs have seen better days when it comes to their pass defense. I do like Zay Flowers this week. Rashad Bateman has found his way going back up my board to a mid-level risk, catching a few passes. But again, the secondary pieces on this team are going to be so hit and miss. With Bateman, with Hopkins, with Tez Walker, all of these guys are getting in the mix. Even Tylan Wallace gets in the mix every now and then as well. Very hard to trust any of these secondary wide receivers. If I had to pick one this week, I'm going to go D-Hop on the TD-dependent upside once again this week versus Kansas City Chiefs. Kind of a revenge game for him, even though he only played partial season last year with the Chiefs. TD dependency is definitely here as well, but the floors are very low for Bateman and Hopkins. Mark Andrews, good upside, even though this is recency bias. I still got him on a mid-level risk. I will play a Mark Andrews once again this week, even though we know that Isaiah Likely could be back. Is it likely that he's back? Pun intended, but I think the injury risk still is the designation for me. Even though if he does suit up in this contest, it's going to take him a few games to get ready. So Mark Andrews, for me, is the better play over a Isaiah Likely. Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia opened up at 16.5 points versus these New Orleans Saints. This might be another big-time blowout. 3-0 Bills, 0-3 Saints. Josh Allen, fire him up everywhere you got him. The problem is with this, kind of weaker schedule, we're not going to see Josh put up the Superman numbers like we did in week 1. That's the issue with this. They're going to lull this game plan to sleep. They're going to score the points, and then they're going to get the hell out of there. So it is bad for fantasy football. It is good for us Bills Mafia supporters, but take that with a grain of salt. James Cook is going to be that dude continuously throughout this year. 3 boom games for this man ever since signing his deal. What did I say? I'm all in once again on a James Cook because he is that damn good. And 64 points, 3 boom games. Fire up James everywhere you got him. Ray Davis doesn't see the field near enough because James is cooking. And Keon Coleman, target floor on the mid-level risk. Everybody eats. We know the mantra. We know that it continues to be this way. And versus a team like the New Orleans Saints, who are on the lower level of teams, anybody can pick your poison this week. Could this be Keon week? I think it could be. Target floor is definitely here. You want to start to build a good rapport with some of these guys and, test a few things out. They're definitely, having a playbook in neutral. They're not opening this thing up, man. I guarantee you they're saving a bunch of stuff for the playoffs. So Keon Coleman, target floor, mid-level risk. Khalil Shakir, mid-level risk. Your point totals for these guys anywhere from 5 to 13 points. So it is kind of a risk, man. Pick your poison. I think there are better options, even though this is a good matchup for the Bills. Josh Palmer, low floor, high level risk. Elijah Moore, boomer bust, man. Even though I do like, the gadget plays that they are installing for this man, he is a very talented wide receiver. You see that one that he took, and he just started sprinting up the middle of the field. He still's got wheels, man. Don't be twisted on an Elijah Moore. Maybe we'll see something. Dalton Kincaid, low level risk, fire him up. He could have had 3 tutties last week if he would have caught those balls, man. That's another thing they got to get 100% with is a Dalton Kincaid. Carolina Panthers take on the New England Patriots. Bryce Young, 30-point spot, and he only put up, 12 points last week? Not great. I mean, this offense looked okay. It wasn't necessarily setting the, everything ablaze. Mid-level risk for Bryce Young. I do believe there are better options. Gonzo is back for the Patriots, hopefully with that hamstring all healed up at this point, but low-level risk for Chuba Hubbard, even though he is on the injury report with a calf injury. They are saying he is good to go at this point. Rico Dwaddle may take some more volume as we saw last week as well, but the volume upside for me is still in the red unless a Chuba does, by chance sit in this contest. Then Rico will get the priority lion's share of the carries in this offense. So watch out for the injury report. If Chuba does sit, you can fire up a Rico versus New England Patriots. Tet McMillan, T-Mac, mid-level risk, only due in part to calf injury. They say he's going to suit up in this contest as well. I have T-Mac in a few leagues. I will likely fire him up as well versus the New England Patriots. You want to see more out of this offense. Still kind of hovering in that mid-level, but, due in part to the injury does worry me. Mid-level risk for a T-Mac. David Moore taking on high-level risk because of Xavier Legette. He will not play in this contest, where Hunter Renfrow could be another good contest for him with all the injuries, especially with, even if they're T-Mac and company are good enough to play in this contest, go look for, secondary options to carry the load, and Hunter Renfrow could be a very sneaky pick this week. Mid-level risk for a Hunter Renfrow. Tommy Tremble is playing in part for a Jatavion Sanders. Don't like the play of a Tommy Tremble. He is not necessarily offensively worthy. Chicago Bears taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Caleb Williams, okay, not necessarily looking like the best quarterback yet, but he is dominating in fantasy football right now. 71 points, 3 boom games. Low-level risk, man. Fire up a Caleb everywhere you got him. At least he is moving the football, finding his plethora of wide receivers. And it's funny because it's all going to Rome Odunze, Luther Burden right now, where DJ Moore is just getting like the after bites of everything. Caleb Williams, you can fire him up everywhere you got him. DeAndre Swift, boom upside for me in the green. I think, they got the passing upside and the passing game working last week. Now it's time to get this run game installed and going. Even though DeAndre is dealing with a hip issue, I think it's just more soreness at this point. No issue right now for him not to suit up as we have seen. Roshan, high-level risk. DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden. I'm going to go Rome is the low-level risk. Favorite target of a Caleb Williams right now and is eating, man. 54 points. Fire him up everywhere we got him. DJ Moore or Luther Burden. You got to go more before Burden, but it was nice to see Luther Burden get in the mix. Luther is a damn good talent. I'm telling y'all, watch out for this kid as he continues to grow. Hopefully you got him off the waiver wire because he is one of these talents that you're going to be like, damn, I wish I got him. He's so good in the open field. Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland, high-level risk. We are not touching these tight ends as they are trying to go and implement these wide receivers in Chicago. Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Denver Broncos. Man, what a crapshoot that game was in Minnesota last week. Pick sixes, turnovers, lack of point productivity, and this devalues this entire offense, man. This hurts us in a very big way. Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown, everybody gets a down tick, especially versus high-end defenses like the Denver Broncos. High-level risk for Browning. We're not touching it. Chase Brown, on the other hand, TD-dependent, mid-level risk. I know you probably don't have better options at the running back spot, but if you have them, definitely take them this week because I do not like it. The only thing saving Chase is going to be a TD or if he gets multitude of checkdowns, which we have not seen so far this season. So maybe they implement that in garbage time and Chase saves his day that way. So definitely buyer beware. Play at your own risk, man. Taj Brooks, not playing that just yet. And Ja'Marr Chase, we obviously got to fire him up, but the target floor is definitely here, man. What do you have, 4 points last week? Definitely not good for the cause, but we got to fire up Chase because it is Ja'Marr Chase. T. Higgins, mid-level risk. At this point, man, he's complaining about getting the ball, and Ja'Marr was like, what did I tell you? I'll go tell him you need the effing ball. I don't like T. Higgins this week in this offense versus defense in Denver that can absolutely stifle them. I'm benching A. T. Higgins this week for better or worse. Andrei Iosivas and Mike Gesicki, high-level risks for me. I am definitely not playing those gentlemen this week. Cleveland Brownies coming off a big surprise win versus those Green Bay Packers last week. Now they're taking on the Detroit Lions in Motown. Joe Flacco, man, low floor in the red. I mean, he just has not done enough in this offense. There's so many weapons here. Why can't he just sling the football around to everybody? But they are a work in progress at this point. The big upside for me, not playing Flacco this week either, but the big upside for me at this point right now is Q Judkins. He looks damn nice, man. 24 points in 2 games, 1 boom game for this rookie after missing entire training camp. This kid is legit. You absolutely fire up a Judkins everywhere you got him. I know it is the Detroit Lions defensive front, and it's going to be very difficult, but I have a feeling and a sneaky suspicion this game might get out of hand early, even though the Brownies defense is so good and will challenge this Detroit Lions offense. They definitely will. We may see a garbage time touchdown or garbage time point productivity from Judkins. I like the play of him, even versus a Detroit Lions stellar defense on the mid-level risk. So there is risk to it, but I still like the Judkins play. Dylan Sampson taking back seat to a Q Judkins at this point, not touching that. Jerry Jeudy, low upside, not playing it, man, until further notice, until Joe Flacco can absolutely support him. Jameis Winston was the only one that could open up the gates for a Jerry Jeudy, and they let the man go, so we can't play Jeudy at this point. Cedric Tillman, very volatile TD upside play on the mid-level risk. If you got better options, take it. If you don't, you want to risk it. I get it. There is TD upside, but I mean, the basement floor right now is around 5 points, so get ready for that if you choose to start them. Tight ends, David Njoku and Harold Fannin, only Fannins. Because, I mean, only Fannins Jr., he is one of these guys. They're going to be mix and matching with their play. We've seen the last couple weeks more dedication to an Njoku over Fannin, and that's okay because it's fully expected by me. You got to play the matchup play, and I think in this contest, it is imperative that they get the 12-man personnel, get the run game going, and utilize your tight ends. I think Njoku and Fannin could both have a decent role in this contest, and either one of them could have a decent contest, but I'm saying it's mid-level risk for both of them only because the Detroit Lions defense is that stellar at coming after the quarterback. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott and company, they lost CeeDee Lamb. Weird enough, I mean, it looked like a high ankle sprain the way his ankle was swelling up, but they refused to put him on injured reserve. They're saying they're going to wait a week before they make that decision, but now you wasted another week on the man sitting on the bench. Why would you do this, Dallas? So much inconsistency in how they manage this club, but nevertheless, Dak Prescott, mid-level risk. They still got George Pickens, and this offense can still run the football. Green Bay's defense is sound, and they will give Dallas a big-time run for their money. What a crapshoot Dallas was last week versus the Bears. Could not get anything going, so definitely mid-level risk versus a high-end defense. Javonte Williams, mid-level risk, again, versus a high-end defense. If they don't respect the pass from Dak Prescott, it's going to be tough sledding for Javonte and Vontae to get through any kind of holes, and chunk yardage going to be very tough. Miles Sanders is doing the business right now, but high-level risk, not touching it. George Pickens, I'm going to say low-level risk only because of target upside, no CeeDee Lamb. They will have to force feed a George in this contest quite a bit if they intend to be competitive. So for me, target upside alone gives him the low-level risk. Jalen Tolbert, PBR upside on the mid-level could be a nice, secondary piece flex option, wide receiver 3 for us this week, or a Kevontae Turpin Boomer bust on the red. They're going to use gadget plays. They're going to try go deep, and potentially he's got some kick return upside as well. I would trust a Tolbert over a Turpin, but it is boomer bust. More points will likely go to Turpin if he does make a few big plays. Jake Ferguson on the other end, PPR upside, caught like 80,000 balls last week. He's going to catch them again. They're going to force feed this man even if this game does get out of hand. Ferguson is a very safe play in the green. Denver Broncos taking on the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football. Okay, Bo Nix, baby, low-level risk. Fire him up. This defense is whack in Cincinnati, and I mean, 1-2 Denver Broncos, they need a get-right game in the biggest of ways. Yes, they challenged those Chargers last weekend. Look good doing it. Few mistakes, but Bo Nix definitely needs a big-time showing. Low-level risk, fire a Bo everywhere you got him. J.K. Dobbins, low-level risk, 3 boom games in a row for a guy that nobody wanted on the street, and the Broncos scooped him up on a $5.2 million contract. And this man's almost got 50 points in 3 games, man. Fire up J.K. everywhere you got him. TD upside on the mid-level risk for me for RJ Harvey this week. This week 4 is typically where we see a lot of these youngsters and rookies start to get at least a little bit more touches from the coaching staff to see what they can become. RJ Harvey could be one of these dudes this week where if this game does get out of hand early, RJ Harvey could have a big-time role eating up all the volume where they let JK sit, so definitely stay on tap for that. Cortland Sutton, low-level risk, fire him up after another fantastic showing where Marvin Mims is a high-level risk, not touching it. And Troy Franklin, bounce-back game on the mid-level. I do like it. We should see a few deep shots to this man as well. Evan Ingram's coming back from injury. They say he will suit up in this contest. Target floor on the mid-level. I want to see 1 week of health before I promote starting an Evan Ingram. So if you have better options, abso-frickin-lutely, you exercise them this week. Detroit Lions taking on the Cleveland Brownies. Jared Goff, mid-level risk, only because due in part, even though it is one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, that Cleveland Browns team, man, they can come after anybody. Myles Garrett is a man possessed. I fear for Jared Goff in many situations, but you know they'll get creative in that pass game to make it be quick passes out to their plethora of talented players like a Jahmyr Gibbs. Jared Goff is one of these guys. The floor is relatively safe. I just don't see the ceiling being that high. Jahmyr Gibbs, low-level risk, fire him up. David Montgomery, man, you brought us the victories last week. Monty, baby, career high in rushing yards. He looked absolutely stellar. And kudos to you, Monty, for not going down. You know how you see everybody where the clock is running out, they just dive on the field? Monty took it into the end zone. He knows we needed those points last week. Fire up Monty everywhere he got him as well this week. They're going to have to lean upon the ground. Amon-Ra St. Brown, low-level risk, PPR upside. This man is killing it as well. 2 boom games, almost 60 points. Hit up Amon-Ra every single week. J-Mo, this week again, I'm going to kind of say mid-level risk, and I'm going to kind of say put him on the bench this week. It is one of those hit and misses. You want to see the better matchup play, even though J-Mo is so damn talented. Will they need him to win this contest? Will they be able to break free in the open field? Maybe that's how they get the run game going. Few deep shots to J-Mo, but they don't target him near enough to be fantasy relevant every single week. That is the problem with J-Mo right now. Mid-level risk. Don't hate a flex play, but if you got a better option, I would take it as well. Isaac Tesla, nothing to see here, and Sam Laporta, mid-level risk. Just too much going to the wide receivers and running backs right now for us to trust a Sam Laporta, but I do like the play of him this week as checkdowns and short, safer plays. Quicker options to Sam Laporta could be coming. Green Bay Packers taking on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, like I'm saying. Jordan Love, feeling the love for love. This is stud star for me after a terrible showing versus those Cleveland Brownies. Absolutely, man. You see Myles Garrett chasing him saying, run, Jordan, run. I was laughing so hard at that one, but stud start of the week. Bounce back for me for Jordan Love versus a Cowboys secondary that is so bad, I could probably throw 300 yards against these gentlemen. Not saying that's true, but I'm just, being facetious. Stud start Jordan Love everywhere he got him. Josh Jacobs did pop up on the injury report with that ankle, but they are managing his practice reps at this point. Nothing to be scared about for missing a contest. Low-level risk, fire up Jacobs everywhere he got him. He could run the football like damn good this week, and I do like it, man. Chris Brooks not doing it, where Matthew Golden is my sleeper play. Like I said, week 4, we could see a lot of these teams take off the shackles, take off the training wheels, and just let loose. I think this one is going to be a Matthew Golden day. Massive risk in this play, no question. But if you want to risk, that's what makes us great, man. You risk it, and you win because they were able to break free. I think this is the week that they try to test Matthew Golden a lot versus a defense that legit cannot stop a Colt through the air. Fire up a Golden on sleeper upside play. Romeo Doubs, Romeo, mid-level risk. I'm okay with it, not great with it. I'd rather go with Golden this week over at Dobbs. Dontavian Wicks not touching it, where Tucker Kraft still dealing with a knee and elbow injury, mid-level wrist. They kind of used him as that decoy last week. He should be good to go this week. I do like the play of Kraft and Musgrave. We are not touching it here in week number 4. Houston Texans taking on Tennessee Titans. CJ Stroud is broken, y'all. I don't know what else to say. The offensive line is no good. Nobody respects the run game, and he just can't find his wide receivers outside of Nico Collins. It is not good for CJ Stroud. He looks really bad right now. He's got to fix his game big time, and I don't think this is a contest to do it versus Tennessee Titans defense that still does play with the best of them. Low floor on the mid-level risk. Find better options than a CJ Stroud. Nick Chubb, mid-level risk. There is volume upside here as well. If you are starving for running backs and require some good upside, he can definitely provide you what you require. Woody Marks, man, you got a Chubb and a Woody Chubb, man. Nobody's talking about that either, but hey, high-level risk for a Woody Marks. Not playing him this week. Where Nico Collins, low-level risk, fire him up. The rest of these gentlemen, Jaden Higgins, Christian Kirk, Dalton Schultz, high-level risk. We're not playing any of these gentlemen because look at these stat lines. 8.5, 4.0. Dalton Schultz gives you 4 points per week. This is no good. This is crippling you in fantasy football. If you are playing it, if you're playing it safe, Nico's really the only one that you can play and trust outside of a Nick Chubb, who still does get you some volume upside. Indianapolis Colts taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Daniel Jones, Daniel Pennies. Okay, he didn't have to do as much last week, but I mean, 3 boom games in a row. Low-level risk versus a Rams team that is good and can come after the quarterback, but the Colts have proven they can be still one of the best offensive lines in this league. I do like Daniel Jones this week as a play. Also, Jonathan Taylor, JT, baby, he has been killing it all season already. Low-level risk, fire him up. 3 boom games, 71 points, baby. Running back 1 in fantasy football after 3 weeks. JT is that dude, man, and he's going to continue even versus a very good front 7 of these Rams. DJ Giddens just not there yet. We're Josh Downs. We're always down for Downs, but maybe not this week either, man. PBR upside, only 14 points. Daniel Jones just seemingly has not found the chemistry with a Downs at this point. You got to keep Downs on your bench at this point, man. Michael Pittman, low-level risk, fire him up. I do like the fact that they are force-feeding this man on the regular. It would be nice if he spread the ball around to other guys as well, but Pittman seems to be the dude that is taking all the chemistry from a Daniel Jones, Daniel Pennies. A.D. Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell, low target floor on the high level. Even with an Alec Pierce out with a concussion, there could be some upside here, but there's just not enough to go around because guys like Tyler Warren, low-level risk, fire him up everywhere he got him. Love the play of Warren this week as well. JT and Warren are the 2 standards and staples in this offense, and then there's everybody else. Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know what to make of this team and this offense at all. I understand new regime, new coaching staff. You want to build in the right direction in your vision and how you see fit. I just don't see what your vision is, man. You got thoroughbreds like a Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, and you refuse to use them. I get it. Maybe you're calling the right plays, and Trevor Lawrence, sunshine, he just cannot hit them. Mid-level risk for Sunshine this week. I cannot trust him. Do not like it versus 49ers, even though they did lose Bosa, and this team just keeps getting decimated with injuries. The 49ers do. Still don't like the play of Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne, low-level risk. Fire him up. 3 boom games for this guy, man. 44 points. He is doing more than enough for us each and every week. Bashal Tutin, he's on the injury report with a shoulder issue. He should be good to go to play in this contest. Mid-level risk. It is still not yet a 50-50 split backfield, so you're going to take the good with the bad. He's going to have some hits. He's going to have some misses. This is the week versus the 49ers. I think it's not going to necessarily go his way. Brian Thomas Jr., low floor, mid-level risk, man. Because of where we drafted him, you have to play him. I mean, what else can you say? Unless you got greater options elsewhere, you got to play A. Thomas and hope that he breaks out of this funk, something like a Marvin Harrison Jr. did on Thursday Night Football. You got to hope something is coming. So fire up a Brian Thomas, only doing part 2 draft where we drafted him, but it is a low floor on the mid-level risk. Travis Hunter, low floor in the red. I will not touch it until we see a breakout. I don't even care if he breaks out on my bench at this point. I just want to see it. I cannot trust it on my starting lineup. Diami Brown also dealing with a shoulder issue, so on the red for me. Don't like the play where Bretton Strange, he had himself a boom game last week. PBR upside on the mid-level. At least that is looking in the right direction for a Bretton Strange. Don't dislike the play in deeper leagues for a tight end spot. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Patrick Mahomes is legit the only one playing on this offense right now. As much as I dislike the Chiefs, you see the problems. Like, he's trying to play Superman every single week, and you kind of feel for him. Not really, but you kind of feel for him a little bit. Low-level risk, man. He's going to have to put on his best show versus the Ravens. If the Kansas City Chiefs go 1-3, this is going to be detrimental to their playoff lives. No kidding about that. So this Patrick Mahomes and this team, they're going to be ready to go. They got Xavier Worthy back. I do like Mahomes to at least put up 20 points this week versus a Ravens defense that has struggled mightily versus both the run and the pass. Isaiah Pacheco, low floor in the red, looking in other directions, even though the Ravens do give up a lot of yards on the ground. I just don't like what I see from his rushing upside, man. It's terrible right now. 3 games, 12 points. On that bench you go, sir. Kareem Hunt, mid-level risk. He got 10 points last week for you, so at least there is some upside, and I do believe they should give him the start this week and start, at least giving them more touches. I think they went away from the run game far too much, and this offensive line is still having some issues. Hollywood Brown, mid-level risk. Flex option definitely does exist here, where Juju on the low floor in the red. Don't like it this week because Xavier Worthy is back. Mid-level risk. He should be good to go. We got to fire him up, man. Against these Ravens, they need some kind of upside field stretching ability. Fear of the run. Xavier Worthy might take, a couple quarters to get back into it, so hopefully they do a couple shots to this man, and he can break one for a touchdown. There is mid-level risk. I do like other plays, but if you got Worthy, I don't hate playing him this week either. Travis Kelce, TD upside. He dropped one last week, turned into an interception. They're going to go back to the well, and he's going to fix his hands, man. He is at that point where retirement is getting closer for Kelce. I still like the play this week versus these Ravens. They know how important this contest is, and they should bring their A game. Los Angeles Chargers taking on the New York Giants. Justin Herbert. Herbie killing it, man. I told y'all this offseason I was smitten with this whole offense, and it is proving my point. The best, elixir to this offense was Keenan Allen. Bringing in Keenan back was a stroke of genius, man. It was like Herbert and Keenan didn't miss a beat for 3 weeks. Killing it right now. QJ, Keenan Allen, 48 points for QJ, 46 for Keenan. It's all taking the bread out of Ladd McConkey's mouth, man. He's a good lad, but right now he's not. Justin Herbert, low-level risk versus the Giants, who are moving on to Jackson Dart. The defense is not necessarily great. They can get after the quarterback, but that secondary isn't necessarily poised to stop this onslaught of Charger bolt up, man. Fire up Herbert everywhere he got him. Omarion Hampton, my dude. Told y'all breakout was eventually coming. Came at the expense of Najee Harris's Achilles, and then all of a sudden Omarion Hampton flipped a switch, and he became the guy that we knew he was. Fire him up everywhere he got him. Low risk. I think they're going to continue to ride and see what they saw last week, and they got good holes for Hampton this week. Fire him up everywhere he got him. Hassan Haskins is the backup, not touching it. We're Ladd McConkey. He's a good lad. He's been a frustrating lad right now, but I do think as week 4, he's been kind of that forgotten man, been dealing with some bumps and bruises. I think TD upside does come this week, even though his floor isn't necessarily safe, but it's okay. I do think he finds his way into the end zone. It's like one of those situations where they're like, we got to just get him a touchdown at this point because he has been an afterthought. I do like the play of Ladd this week. QJ and Keenan, like I said, low risk. Fire them up everywhere he got him. And Oronde Gadsden, sleeper appeal definitely is here with it. Will Disley. I was a fan of Conklin. Didn't think Gadsden was just ready to play valuable snaps just yet, but he definitely is. He is a definite sleeper on the mid-level risk. Los Angeles Rams taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Matthew Stafford, mid-level risk. He's been doing a yo-yo up and down. At least he's able to force-feed Puka to be the best wide receiver in fantasy right now. Mid-level risk versus the Colts defense that can be had. The only issue is Devontae Adams is dealing with a hamstring injury. If you're streaming quarterbacks, you can definitely play Stafford this week, where a Devontae Adams is dealing with that hammy. They say he's good to go, but there is going to be issues, potential, maybe less targets to keep him healthy. We got to play Devontae. We got to play Puka. Fire those guys up everywhere he got him, but just watch out. That hamstring could, flare up on him, and then he could miss the rest of the contest. So if you got better options than Devontae, you might want to take him this week. Kyron Williams, low-level risk. Fire him up. They're going to lean upon the ground game a lot in this one if Devontae is not 100%, where Blake Corum could get in the mix as well. High-level risk for Blake Corum for me. Tutu and Tyler Higbee, not touching it this week. High-level risk plays for me. I do not like it. Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Chicago Bears. Geno, man, throwing interceptions, but at least he's chucking that football, man. That's what you're looking for. Good upside, 2 boom games. Good upside on the mid-level, 50 points. He's going to continue to move this football through the air. Geno is a good streaming quarterback, even versus the Bears defense that has a multitude of injuries right now. Also, I do like Geno this week as a streaming quarterback if you are looking for one. Ashton Jeanty, can I vent it out just a little bit? Because what did I say this offseason about Jeanty, man? He's a good running back. Is he a great running back? Maybe. Is he elite or generational? I think that's kind of where they were all going. No, he's not generational. I took so much flack for this offseason, and it's coming to fruition because of what he does, okay? Being a guy, is he good? Absolutely. Can he be great? Absolutely. We have seen many great running backs in this league put up big-time numbers, and I think Ashton Jeanty will eventually break out and get there as well. He's not a bad running back, but he's not generational like everyone was trying to make him out to be. The Bijans, LaDainians, Barry Sanders. You guys, man, come on, man. You guys don't watch enough film if that's what you thought Ashton Jeanty was coming into the NFL from Boise State. Give me a break. Like I said, it's not hate on an Ashton Jeanty. He still could be very good to great, and I would not be shocked whatsoever. He's got all the skills to be that. Is he a generational talent? I'm still on my, pillar saying no, he is not. He just is not that guy. TD dependency this week for Jeanty. His stats do not look good. However, it is a bad offensive line, so I will give him the benefit of the doubt in that as well, because it is tough to run when you don't have a lot of holes to gallop through. We got to play him. TD dependency versus the Bears defense. Hopefully, Jeanty can break out of his funk this week as well. Like I said, week 4 is typically when we see it, so Jeanty, this is your week to do it. Let's see what you can do. Zamir Zeus White not touching it. We're Jakobi Meyers, mid-level risk. I do like the play of Jakobi this week as well. PPR upside is out the wazoo, even especially with a Brock Bowers still kind of nursing that knee issue, even though he's off the injury report. Did not look himself last week. I do like Jakobi Meyers this week. Trey Tucker, he just wanted to be the guy to get 40 points basically for the first time in his career. What the hell was that, man? He just absolutely killed everybody in fantasy if they played him, and nobody played him last week, so don't worry about that. Mid-level risk, man. Don't have the recency bias. Tucker will not do that 2 weeks in a row, but his role should expand. So I want to see expansion from Pete Carroll and company to a Trey Tucker. He's clearly shown that he can make a lot of plays. Feed the man. You got weapons. Feed the man. Trey Tucker is a mid-level risk. Decent flex option this week, where Brock Bowers, low-level risk, only one boom game for one of the best tight ends in the NFL. You got to get Brock the football that much more. Low-level risk. I think he has a very sound day this week as well. Miami Dolphins, Tua. They're taking on the New York Jets on Monday Night Football, the doubleheader Monday night, like I said. Tua was, clapping back at a Cam Newton this week. Give Tua a break. I'm telling y'all, he's just saying, he didn't say anything to suggest that Cam, didn't play football, but Cam's sitting in the booth right now where he is, Tua's playing, and he's saying it's hard right now for him. Just relax on Tua. Give him some flowers in that sense. Mid-level risk versus the New York Jets defense. They are definitely not the same high-octane team that they once were. Tua's making mistakes, throwing interceptions, and just not reading the field properly. Mid-level risk. He can still get you 2 tutties, but against the Jets defense that's, still going downward, man. The downward spiral for this Jets team is not a good thing for the defense. I don't dislike Tua this week, but you got to understand that interceptions will be coming. He's like the new Danny Pennies in Miami, but I would look for better options. But I think he could have a decent game. 15 to 20 points could be coming his way. Devin off the A-Chain. Low-level risk. Fire him up everywhere you got him. It's a no-brainer. He is the best player on this team right now. Where Ollie Gordon, volume floor in the red. If they do get a lead, Ollie will see more touches, but it's very difficult to trust him right now. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle time. Mid-level risk for both these gentlemen, giving us enough points. You're talking 13, 14 points. I'll take that any given day from my wide receivers. While we would like to see Tyreek go back into that 21 plus, very tough to see, especially when Tua's floating that ball so high over his head. He's getting visibly frustrated once again. Lots of trade rumors for Tyreek. Could potentially be on the deadline, dealt somewhere else as well. I do like the play of Tyreek this week. I do like the play of Jalen Waddle this week. I think there is more than enough to at least get us decent point productivity for our fantasy team, where Malik Washington, high-level risk, and Darren Waller supposedly is going to play this week. I'm not playing that either. Minnesota Vikings taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is over the pond to Ireland we go. Early contest for y'all. Get up early for this one. Minnesota coming off a big-time dismantling of those Cincinnati Bengals. Carson Wentz, man, he looked okay. Didn't have to do a whole heck of a lot because the defense ran back 2 tutties. And I'm telling you, a mid-level risk for this, man. They're not going to rush back a J.J. McCarthy at this point. Let his ankle heal up. And Carson Wentz is a seasoned veteran. While he isn't necessarily the best quarterback out there, he can at least move the football. This is good news. Okay, Carson Wentz, I'm not looking to play him. I just need him to support everybody else on this team. Mid-level risk for Carson. Jordan Mason, low-level risk. Fire him up. He looked good last week. Should look good versus Steelers again this week. Volume upside definitely here. We're Justin Jefferson, JJ, low-level risk. Why? Because he's got Jordan Addison back in business, baby. I love me some Addy, just not this week. It's going to take him a little bit of time, especially going over the pond, not playing for 3 weeks. It's going to be tough. Got to crawl before you walk, even for a guy who's played already. He might get a couple big-time shots down the field, and if he scores a touchdown, fantastic. I just won't trust Addy this week. Or Adam Thielen, high-level risk, especially with Addy back. Do not like it. We're TJ Hawkinson, PPR upside on the mid-level risk with somebody like Carson Wentz. TJ Hawkinson will live another day once again like he did last week. We can play TJ Hawkinson. New England Patriots taking on the Carolina Panthers. Drake May, my guy. Man, does it hurt that he plays for these Patriots because he is good. And he is growing in basically in every single game. 62 points, 3 boom games. So many mouths to feed, and he's feeding them. We like what we see from Drake May. Fire him up everywhere we got him versus the Panthers team that is coming off a high note with a lot of injuries. I fully expect the Panthers to have a big letdown, and the Patriots should have a big day. Drake May is going to be the good quarterback play this week. Trevion Henderson, breakout contest. I know I've been saying it. I'm saying, when is it going to happen? Week 4, baby. It's got to be this one as well. Breakout campaign. We saw Ramondre fumbling the football. Yes, we saw Coach Vrabel and company saying, yeah, it does not diminish his volume. I call bull on that one. It's time to unleash this young rook, man. Yes, he's made mistakes in holding penalties. Give him the freaking ball and see what he can do in the open field. Fire up Trevion everywhere he got him. Breakout campaign is coming. Mid-level risk for Ramondre versus the Panthers. He will still get his touches, and hopefully he can hang on to the football. In terms of this wide receiver room, it is very difficult to trust. Stephon Diggs, Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas, and Kayshon Boutte. You like booty? He got some Kayshon Boutte. Right now, Diggs, low floor, high level risk, just not near enough target share to, warrant even a flex play where Pop Douglas gives you very low upside, and Boutte right now is kind of cooled off after the early start he did have. So for me, it is Boutte, then it's Diggs, then it's Pop Douglas if you are choosing either 3 of these wide receivers. But Hunter Henry is back in business at being the number 1 tight end in fantasy football, low level risk. Fire him up everywhere you got him. And I was hoping that this was going to be the constant because he is the safety blanket for Drake May. Look in Hunter's direction, and good things do come. New Orleans Saints taking on my Buffalo Bills. Spencer Rattler, good luck to you, man. I do like you, but it's just good luck to you. High-level risk. They're going to come after Spencer. They're going to give him very different looks, and he's going to struggle immensely, likely in this contest. We'll see if the Buffalo Bills can fix their third down defense. So maybe on third down, that's when we see Spencer Rattler do something. Garbage time productivity could be had for Spencer as well, but we're not playing that this week. Alvin Kamara needs a big-time bounce back versus the Bills defense that can be susceptible to the run game and maybe some check down upside. I still like Kamara. They just got to be able to move this offense that much better, and I think that Kamara should at least give us a boom game this week, but his ceiling is kind of tapered off big time where we're not seeing those 20-plus contests anymore. Kendre Miller not touching it, where Chris Olave, CO2, he hit a boom last week like I was saying. I was just hoping for that end zone shot. Did not come. Mid-level risk versus the Bills, where Rashid Shaheed is the play for me this week if you are picking a wide receiver from these Saints. TD upside on the mid-level risk, where the Bills have been cashed in through the air deep already before. Rashid Shaheed will test the Buffalo Bills secondary this week as well. Brandon Cook still not touching it, where Juwan Johnson is a must play. He's been killing it, 33 points so far, 3 boom games. Juwan should be able to make some noise versus the Buffalo Bills defense. New York Giants taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Jackson Dart is now official in New York. The tenure of this young rookie. We'll see what he can do. High-level risk. I am not playing it, not liking it. We know growing pains. If y'all don't know and you're all like, he's going to be unbelievable, I hope he is, because I'm not touching it. If you're touching it, you're brave. You got big-time kahunas if you're going to be playing Jackson Dart. I just can't do it. Cam Skattebo. I mean, with Tyrone Tracy down, Skattebo had a massive amount of yardage last week. 125-plus yards, total yards last week. 35 points, 2 boom games. And I will admit, I always admit when I'm wrong, I did not promote Cam Skattebo near enough. He is legit. He is one of these guys that if he continues down this path, he just looked like one of these, Peyton Hillis guys to me with a little bit more juice and hands. He's better than that. And I take full responsibility for not promoting Cam that much more. He's damn good, man. And I think that he's going to be this guy, like a anomaly that we have not seen at the running back spot, a guy that's that big who can catch the football like he can. And, man, he's a punishing runner as well, but he's built to put out the punishment as well. I do like the play of Cam this week versus Chargers, even though it's going to be tough sledding. He could give you big-time upside in the pass game with check downs from a Jackson Dart. Devin Motor Singletary slots in with a Tracy on the bench with injury, not playing him. Malik Neighbors, target floor in the green. We got to play him, but fully expect 8 points this week. Like, that's kind of what you're doing unless Jackson Dart actually becomes like the next Peyton Manning in game 1. It's going to be rough sledding for a couple games till he gets his feet wet. Darius Slayton not touching it. Where Wandale, he could be the check down option this week. PPR upside on the mid-level for Wandale. I don't like the play as well. It's going to be tough sledding through the air versus Chargers as the defense is still very sound. Theo Johnson not playing him this week either. They just do not feed the tight end near enough in New York with these Giants. New York Jets taking on the Miami Dolphins Monday Night Football. Justin Fields is back this week from concussion so far. Have not heard. They said he's going to play, so I'm going to go with that notion that he is going to suit up. Low-level risk, fire him up everywhere he got him. When he was playing good. And then he got knocked out of that contest versus the Bills. So I'm telling y'all, I like the play of Fields. I think there is very good upside for him this week as well versus a Miami team that is very bad on the defensive side. Likewise with Breece Hall, boom game coming. I'm going to put it out there, man. If I'm wrong, I'll eat my words. I think Breece Hall has a massive day this week versus these Miami Dolphins. They need to get this run game going, control the pace, control the clock, use Braylon Allen to be part of that as well. TD floor for a Braylon Allen mid-level risk. I love the play of Breece Hall this week, and I think that everybody should fire him up and hope for the best that it's 125 yards and at least 2 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson, that's a little ambitious, but at least it'll be a good day. Garrett Wilson, low-level risk, fire him up with Justin Fields. The chemistry is definitely there, and he's putting up 19-plus points. You got to love it, man. Fire up Garrett everywhere you got him. Allen Lazard, Josh Reynolds, Mason Taylor. We cannot play these gentlemen this week, even though PPR floor is kind of creeping up for it, Allen Lazard. But I think that they're going to go to the run game in a big way. Protect Justin Fields this week from getting a reoccurrence in concussion protocols and symptoms. I do like the play of Fields and Breece and Garrett this week. Big time. Philadelphia Eagles taking on Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jalen Hurts and company 3-0 off a blocked kick. Unreal what we saw in week 3 last week. Jalen Hurts, low-level risk. They got the pass game moving. So all y'all, what did I tell y'all? They don't run the... They don't pass the football because they choose not to. It's not that they can't. They choose not to because they have one of the best running backs in the league in Saquon Barkley, and they just nickel and dime, get the touchdowns, tush push, go home. Some of these teams that are that good, that are built this way to win Super Bowls, they just got to lull the game to sleep. But you saw exactly what the Eagles were able to do. They tried to lull it, and they were getting out of hand. The Rams were winning. And then all of a sudden, the Eagles started to climb back with the passing game. Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. Give him his credit, man. He's a Super Bowl champion. I hate when people start dissing the guy. He is a good quarterback. Is he ever generational elite? That's just like the Genty conversation. I think he's a great quarterback, and he is going to continue to have a great career. Jalen Hurts will. And he's going to be able to support this offense when called upon. So low-level risk for Hurts this week should give you more than enough versus the Buccaneers in a very important showdown. Both teams 3-0. Saquon has been kind of, okay. He's not been Saquon of last year, and that was to be expected. Expected the haircut to happen after so many touches last year, 2,000-plus yards. Still firing up Saquon, obviously, everywhere he got him. Will Shipley is back in business. Not playing him this week, even though he could get some sprinkles in the pass game, where A.J. Brown and Devontae Smitty, mid-level risks for me for both these guys. Again, it's one of those ebbs and flows, ups and downs. Which team are we going to see, the rushing team or the passing team this week? And with all the injuries that Tampa has endured, we could see the Eagles actually run the football a lot more with better efficiency, but I do like the play of Bo Smitty and Brown this week as they may have to pass once again. Jahan Dotson not touching it, and Dallas Goedert, he is getting a start from me as well. PPR floor on the mid-level risk. Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Minnesota Vikings in Ireland. Like I said, across the pond, Aaron Rodgers, mid-level risk. It's a streaming option if you are struggling at quarterback. There are better ones, but at least he's given you decent point productivity. 50 points in 3 games is not terrible. You can do better, but I don't hate the play of Rodgers. Should be able to at least compete with these Vikings, but that Vikings defense is legit, so you might want to steer clear overall. That's why I got him on a mid-level risk. Jaylen Warren is dealing with a knee issue. He did pop up on that injury report. Volume upside in the green is definitely there, and I think that Warren, as much as I said, do I think that he's going to be this great fantasy back? No, but at least he's given us a lot in that pass game. It's kind of like Alvin Kamara-esque type of productivity, and that should continue. Volume upside, especially with Caleb Johnson and other running backs on this team, they're just not fitting the bill, so Warren is defaulted in getting all that target and volume. We can play a Jaylen Warren this week. DK Metcalf said he's going to be going sightseeing. Hopefully he sightsees a couple touchdowns this week, but mid-level risk for me. His floor is just too low. It's just like George Pickens last year in this offense. Very similar stat lines for a DK, and the touchdown upside is not sustainable. 2 touchdowns in 3 games has uplifted DK to be at least relevant. At this point, I just don't foresee it to be consistent. So against the Minnesota Vikings defense, I don't necessarily love the play of DK. I think you can do better, but wide receiver 3 flex option is where I'm going with that. Calvin Austin continues his boomer bust upside. This is a week they didn't utilize him much last week. This is a week we could probably say that he's going to get a lot of touches. So I think Calvin we can play on a boomer bust. We're Roman Wilson, Pat Freiermuth. They are non-existent in this offense. We do not touch these guys. We're Jonnu Smith, low floor on the mid-level risk. They got to control the clock. They got to utilize their tight ends, and I just don't understand why they don't on this offense. But Jonnu Smith is a risky play with mid-level upside. San Francisco 49ers taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good news for this injury-riddled squad. Oh, my Lord. I don't know what the hell is in that water in Frisco right now. Everybody's going down with injuries. Everybody's got some kind of ailment. Brock Purdy, turf toe and shoulder. He's playing this week, confirmed by Kyle Shanahan, so he's back. He's going to feel a little Purdy, and Purdy rusty is what he's going to be feeling. Juwan Jennings, he's dealing with an ankle-shoulder issue. Mac Money Jones, he's dealing with a knee, and he will be the backup. And Ricky Pearsall popped up on the injury report as well with a knee ailment during practice, I believe, on Thursday. So definitely injuries just killing this team on both sides of the football. Brock Purdy first game back, even though it is Jags, the defense does play pretty strong, so I do like their D. Mid-level risk for Purdy. Hopefully he shakes off the rust early and he does produce, but I'm mid-level risk. I'm not playing Purdy this week. Christian McCaffrey, low-level risk. Fire him up. He's been doing the business, and that Achilles does not look bad whatsoever. Hopefully I didn't just jinx the man. Fire up CMC ever we got him. Brian Robinson Jr., B-Rob, high-level risk. He's not getting near enough touches. We're Ricky Pearsall, mid-level risk. Injury risk for me. I think there are better ways to spend your money when it comes to fantasy football this week. Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, it's just too high risk for me. I am not playing them. I don't like it this week, especially with all the injuries, especially with how the 49ers have not been, explosive. I'm not doing it outside of Christian McCaffrey. You can find better options than Pearsall and Jennings this week. MVS, we're not touching, but Jake Tunges, I do like the play of Tunges this week, low risk, as he will take on that Kittle target share this week. With all the injuries at the wide receiver spot, Brock Purdy will find Tunges quite a bit, I do believe. Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Big-time show. Lots of injuries for this team as well. Mike Evans, Big Mike, we know hamstring injury. He's out for a few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. Again, just like last year, he's aging, man. Get used to this from Mike Evans. He's getting old, and that's just what it is, man. Greatness will eventually fall off, and that's what we're seeing with Big Mike. Chris Godwin, ankle injury. He is questionable to play. I got him slotted in here on my board, but I do caution it big time. Do not play Chris Godwin this week for better or worse. Even if he scores magically 45 points, I would rather it on my bench than seeing a 2-point spot on my bench or in my starting lineup. I will not play Godwin until we see how he looks on the field. Baker Mayfield is dealing with a biceps issue as well. Good upside in the green. Fire him up. We know Baker's a dog, man. Unless his eyes are actually falling out of his head, he'll still try to play this game. Fire up Baker everywhere you got him. Bucky Irving, low-level risk. Fire him up. And Rashad White, White. Who's going to take all the touches in the absence of a Mike Evans and potentially no Chris Godwin? Rachaad White, baby. You fire up Rachaad White everywhere you got him. They're going to do a game plan, hopefully, in this team where it is going to utilize their running backs in bunches. And I got a big, sneaky feeling that Rachaad White is going to have a big-time role in this contest. Likewise, with a Cade Otton, we saw it last year when Mike Evans went down with injury with his hammy. Cade Otton had a good stretch of about 4 games till he went down with injury as well. Baker is very familiar chemistry-wise with Cade Otton, and I do like the play. PPR upside, sleeper upside for a Cade Otton is definitely here. Where Emeka Egbuka still dealing with his issues. He's not on the injury report, though, so that's good news. The hip and the groin, low-level risk. He should see majority of the touches, where a mid-level risk for Sterling Shepard does exist as well. Got you a decent 10 points in deeper leagues. I don't dislike the play of a Sterling Shepard. Tennessee Titans taking on the Houston Texans. Not good, man. I mean, Cam Ward, it's to be expected from a rookie passer on a team that is trying to build. And, I mean, the fans aren't even going to see this team right now. It's empty stadium, basically. High-level risk for Cam. Can't trust it. He's just not finding his wide receivers in bunches, and it's just still a little fast for him at this moment. Tony Pollard, mid-level risk. Texans still possess a very good front seven and secondary, so it is going to be tough sledding, but I don't hate the play of Tony Pollard. He is one of these guys we got as our running back 2-3, so you got to kind of play him, but, I mean, this week, again, it's another tough defense. He is trying. He is forcing the issue. 12 points last week, so hopefully he can get you at least that type of floor. Where Tajay Spears, he is coming back from IR return. Don't think he's suiting up in this contest. Might have to wait another week for that, so get him off the waiver wire this week before others go and grab him. Julius Chestnut not touching it. Calvin Ridley, first time on this season, high-level risk on the low floor. We cannot touch it, man. It's just not enough chemistry with this guy. It drop passes, overthrows, underthrows, missed routes. It just does not look good. Calvin Ridley, until further notice, trade him to another team, please. I would love to see that for Calvin Ridley, but right now we can't trust it in Tennessee. Tyler Lockett, high-level risk. He got more targets last week, but still not enough to trust. Where Alec Ayo-Maynor, he is the one that's got the best chemistry with a Cam Ward at this point. Mid-level risk, 2 boom games. We can play him in the flex if you're looking for a wide receiver from the Titans. He's the only one I'm trusting. Where Chig Okonkwo, he got himself a boom last week. I still don't like the play, even though I got him on the mid-level risk. Last one we got is the Washington Commanders, the Commies. No JD, no Scary Terry. They're starting to fall apart as well. JCM is also dealing with a knee issue. He should be good to go. What I tell y'all last week or the week before for waiver wire, go get Jeremy McNichols. It was not a difficult thing. Nobody was even going for the guy, and this is the upside he's going to give you. This is going to be a split backfield, 110%, because JCM, he's not necessarily a full-blown volume pig, and we knew this, man. Everyone wanted him to be. Stop wishing things to happen that cannot happen. Jeremy McNichols is definitely viable in fantasy football this week as well. Volume upside on the mid-level, where JCM, if he is good to go, which they say he should be, we can probably play him this week versus the Falcons. Even though the Falcons do have a good front line, I do like the rushing upside. Marcus Mariota, good floor, 20 points last week. Should be good to go this week as well for streamers, where Debo should take all the volume he can handle in this Cliff Kingsbury offense. Now with no Scary Terry, that injury for Terry, that's something to watch, man. They said no surgery yet. That definitely scares me right now, but it's big-time news for low-level risk for Debo. Fire up Debo everywhere he got him. Who's taking secondary shares of the targets? Luke McCaffrey had a good game last week. PPR upside in the mid-level, where Zach Ertz, TD upside, it is going to be Debo, it is going to be Ertz, and hopefully McNichols is the play again this week so that he makes me look even more like a genius that I think I am, even though I'm not necessarily a genius. I just see things how they play out on the football field. But nevertheless, there you have it. That is week number 4. Starts at lineup advice. Drop your starts and questions in the comments. Do me that favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 10,000 subs. I know we're still not quite there, but I mean, that is the goal, the short-term goal right now. Get to 10,000, baby. Road to 10,000. So do me that favor. Drop a like and a subscribe if you are new to the channel. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. Like I said, drop your start say questions in the comments. I will definitely get back to all y'all. Let's get those dubs, and we'll see you next time. I am out.